Hello, everyone, and welcome to all the Z fans joining us live from the US, Japan, and around the world. This is an exciting announcement at Nissan because this is about the Z. The Z badge has special meaning to sports car lovers and special meaning to me because my very first car was Ferrari Z. For me, I must say, the Z was love at first sight. It looked so cool, so desirable, and when I had driven it, I felt the connection. I knew I wanted to own one. This was 1993. I finally bought a Z, a gunmetal gray with a T-bar roof, and of course, manual transmission. Just looking at the car was exciting for me. Every time I polished my Z, I would spend extra time admiring my favorite angle, the front 3/4. So as a Z fan, I'm delighted to unveil our Z Proto. The Z, as a pure sports car, represents the spirit of Nissan. It's a key model in our Nissan Next transformation plan, and this proof of our ability to do what others don't dare to do, from A to Z. With the earlier crossover, we've started a new era of electrification and autonomous driving technology. And with the Z, we are bringing drivers the excitement of pure sports car. For Nissan, the Z is our DNA. There's Z in everything we do. The Z shows our passion for emotional design and the joy of driving. It brings inspiration and excitement to everyone at Nissan. When the Ferrari Z came out in 1969, it moved the international sports car world. No one had ever experienced a car like that before. The Z offered outstanding performance and stylish design that made drivers realize they have to own a Z. And most importantly, the Z was accessible. Now, we are taking the Z to the next level. I'm excited to announce that the new Z is coming. It means a lot to me that Z fans around the world are watching today. The Z Proto you see here is not a concept. The look of this is close to final, and the feel has been engineered for aerodynamics and body rigidity. As we bring the prototype to reality, we are going to deliver a living connection between driver and car. For us, this unique combination of look, feel, and power is the essence of the Z. The Z Proto is prelude to the new Z and true to its heritage. We hope it will appeal to our drivers who have owned generation of Z and also a new wave of young fans who may have raced virtual Zs online. The Z has always given a tangible and exciting driving experience. And true to that, the new Z will have a twin-turbo V6 with a 6-speed manual transmission. Because we want your drive to be powerful, exciting, and engaging. Our team has created an agile, muscular design that's poised and ready for action. The new Z exterior draws on the memories shaped by our dreams of tomorrow. It draws inspiration from the design of two groundbreaking models, the 240Z and 300ZX. When you get inside the Z, you will feel the connection to its rich heritage. And when you drive the Z, you will feel it moving you and Nissan into the future. For more than 50 years, we have been creating the legend of Z. I'm glad you're with us for this exciting chapter. The new Z is on its way. Thank you.
Thank you, Uchida-san, and welcome to the digital unveil of the Nissan Z Proto. Broadcasting from the Nissan Pavilion, Yokohama, Japan. Hello, I'm your host, Chris Pepler. Now, we've got a lot of people around the world joining us for this from the USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the Middle East, and many more. And as a car fan myself, I'm very excited, as you are, and I'm also honored to be here as MC to show you the highly anticipated Z Proto. As Uchida-san told us in his opening message, the Z Proto is a sneak peek into what's to come. In the next hour, you will hear more about this vehicle and what it means for Nissan, for fans, and the Z legacy. And we're not the only ones celebrating Z history in the making. Right now, the 33rd annual Z car convention, ZCON, is taking place in Nashville, Tennessee. And they're joining us live to share in this moment. At ZCON, we have Adam Carolla, famed radio personality who holds the world record for the most downloaded podcast, The Adam Carolla Show. And he is, without a doubt, a big Z enthusiast himself, with some very impressive vintage Z race cars. So let's check in now with ZCON to see how it's going on with fans over there. Adam, over to you.
Thank you, man with the coolest voice and better eyebrows. Wow, that car looked great, right? I'm definitely signing up for one of those bad boys. We'll see whose palm I got to grease to get one of those things in my garage. All right, so good evening once again. Thanks for joining us, and thanks again for those joining us from Yokohama. And around the world, welcome to ZCON, the International Z Car Convention. For those of you who don't know me, well, that guy said it all. I do a lot of vintage racing. I make some car-related documentaries on occasion. I am proud to say that not only do I do a lot of vintage racing, but I find these cars, oftentimes they're basket cases, do a full nut and bolt restoration on the race cars, and then we go out and hammer the crap out of those cars on the racetrack. So not only do we race them, but we put them back together. So past, present, I love the new stuff. I love the vintage stuff. ZCON is the largest Z car gathering in the world, and this is their 33rd year. Horns and lights, people. All right. At my funeral, I want you guys all in the procession doing this. Tonight we're here in Nashville in the shadow of Nissan's North American headquarters, and there are a couple hundred Z owners here tonight, possibly thousands before the Z Car Convention week is over. And oh, we got you with the flash and the light. Give me the horns and the lights one more time. It's good for my self-esteem. All right, let's take a quick look at some of the highlights from the ZCON 2020 this week so far. Take a look at the monitor. Let's show you some highlights. Well, speaking for all of us here in the U.S. Tonight, we're honored to be joining you for several of the Z Proto Reveal. Well, I want to thank you guys. That's what I'm saying. In North America, the Z has a strong 50-year-plus history, the original Datsun 240Z, and for us in Japan, your Fair Lady Z. The original one went on sale it was a late 69 model year, and it went on to sale here in 1970. Since then, more than 1.3 million of these babies have been sold. 6 generations of Zs have been sold here in the United States, and I think I bought at least 27 Z cars. Seriously, thank you for letting me be part of such a big night, and thanks to ZCON members around the world for your loyalty, enthusiasm, and for all things Z. And I'd say that even if it wasn't on the teleprompter. So now it is my pleasure to return it back to Chris Pepler in Yokohama. Chris?
Thank you, Adam. A lot of enthusiasm. It's great to see the pride of Japanese sports car in heartland America. So we're going to kick off the talk show on the question and answer session. We've received many questions on the Z Proto from all over the world, from you, the fans. Questions about design, engineering, powertrain, sales timing, availability, many, many questions. And it's great to see. Hey, how you guys doing? So great to see so many of us, of you participating for this event. So, of course, we're not going to be able to answer all your questions, but we will do our best with the help of these 2 key people from the Z Proto team. Let me introduce you to Alfonso Albaisa, Senior Vice President of Global Design, and Hiroshi Tamura, Chief Product Specialist of the Z Proto. Fantastic. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful car.
Thank you so much.
You guys must be so proud.
Yeah.
So, Alfonso, can you show us around? Tell us about the car.
Sure. I mean, right off the bat, I really want to thank the thousands of people joining us today and all the enthusiasts and love we've been feeling actually on social media up until this point. And so let me walk you around some of the big points that as a kid, that Adam mentioned 1970, I was a kid around 7 years old in Miami, and I saw this for the 240 for the first time, and that memory is so still in me that when we had the chance to make a new one, naturally this came out. So one of the things that were so important is at a glance, we wanted this long bonnet and this Z type of low slung cabin silhouette. And one of the key points on that is that as you get up close to the car, the volumes, the hood bulge and the fender must be higher than the trailing edge of the roof line, which you see here. And as soon as with engineering and our design team, we were able to capture that, right away we started to feel that yes, we have something here. And naturally, because our engineers, even in the beginning, were telling us, giving us hints about, how this car would really run, we wanted this low center of gravity. Luckily, the roof line gave us that, but then we introduced the katana sword, and also this lovely sculptural crease line that is also tapering down, which allowed this car to feel like a cat that was ready to pounce. So we were really, really excited about these kind of steps that we made on the design. But moving forward on the car, let's talk about some of the things that were interesting in the development process, because of course, we have a love of the 240, but this is an ultra-modern car with a lot of power. So yes, we were able to reintroduce some of the issues like this iconic hood bulge that's on the 240, but it has a very graceful forms around it, expressing the power and the silky power within. You cannot make a Z without the scooped out headlamp. And actually, we thought about how to make the headlamp feel like tomorrow, but also invoke some memories. And what we took inspiration from the special version that came out a couple of years later, where they put a clear lens on the 240. and that actually in the sunlight, the reflections that around the car broke the pure circle of the headlamp into two. And we thought, this is it. This is how we're going to do it. So we did ultra-modern technology, but at the same time feeling like the 240. And to be inspired by the memories, the parting line, the hood, the cheekbones, all must create the grille. The grille is not an artificial element. It's the result of things that around it. So that's the front. Let's take a walk around to the back. So as I mentioned, the roof line tapering back, and this cut off rear end, which is very 240. But about 31 years ago, my first trip to Japan, I opened the studio door. I just joined Nissan, and 300Z was a clay model in the studio. And actually, I wanted to go home and restart my life because that was so modern, I couldn't believe it. So naturally, some of these sensual, simple elements and this sense of high tech is very much 300. But in the Proto, we use the capsule element from 300, but of course, it's an edge-lit LED to give you this, again, this sense of tomorrow. And why don't we step inside, because here is also an interesting twist. Zs have been about performance. Yes, they're beautiful, but they're wonderful things to drive. So what we did here is that we took the purposefulness of the 240 and wrapped it around the body. So when you get into the Proto, you will feel the car is part of you. All the elements are right at your eye level. So as you're driving, you can keep your eyes on the road. And we've introduced modern era things. We have a full digital meter. And of course, we have our information in the center. But everything is organized horizontally and has a purposeful beauty to it. So these are some of the things that we'll have much more time to talk about a little later. But I cannot stop this kind of brief introduction without talking about the meaning of the color. Because 240 had a yellow, my wonderful 300 had a yellow. But at the 30 years ago, the technologies with the paint really created a situation where the designers had to desaturate the yellow for the 300Z. Using modern technologies, we were able to add pearl and add these technologies of modern day and keep the yellow. So when you see this car go outside, this color comes to life in an amazing manner. So really happy to walk around this with you today. And I know we'll have some more time to talk in detail, but I really want to thank you for being lovers of Z and supporting us all the time. So thanks a lot. Thank you. Hey, Chris.
Great presentation. Thank you so much. It is really, really beautiful.
Thank you.
Mr. Tamura, what do you think about your baby coming to life?
Yeah, actually, for this timing or this stage, I'm very happy to join for such a kind of a great time. And Z is my life or our life.
Right.
Nissan of the DNA. So important and so happy.
Right, yeah, it's an amazing looking car. So let's go with our question, our Q&A session. First question will be from ZCON. Adam, I think you have the question?
Yeah, I have a question for Alfonso, who, by the way, I hung out with at Laguna Seca a couple of years ago when I brought one of Newman's GT Z cars over there. I think 86, year 86, he won the GT1 championship. So we hung out. He's all Z. So, Alfonso, my question is the reasoning for designing the Z Proto after the 240Z and the 300ZX. What was the inspiration behind that?
You know, obviously the 240 has been in our lives, you know, almost our entire lives. And so it's always been natural, but, you know, I think we've been involved with the development of many Zs, including the 350. Where there was actually a proposal that was also a bit of an homage But the timing now, I don't know, that's the beauty of creating objects, that the context of today and the meaning of today really made us gravitate towards the beauty and the simplicity and the deep meaning of 240 for the company. So it was very natural, and every time we drew it in a modern context, it was very exciting for us. And then the 300, because it really represented an epic break in sports cars. And of course, from my personal experience, it was so humbling, I cannot tell you, when I saw the first clay model, so that when we had the chance to do this, Satoru Tai, who's the executive design director, and myself with our global teams, we're really wanting to see if we can capture tomorrow, but also trigger memories for all the people who love Z. So that's a bit the beginning, Adam. Thank you for that question.
Adam, does that answer your question?
It certainly does, and I have one more for Tamura-san, if that's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you share why it was important for you and the development team to ensure this Z had a manual transmission when other OEMs have left it out?
Oh, it's a tough question, but just my blood says it's must have a manual. The sports car driver loves manual transmission. And, manual transmission of changing the gear, synchronized to the car. My body is contact or connect to the car. My partner. That is very important for key elements of sports car. Then now, our Nissan also need to change the gear in the future, I think.
So you're basically saying getting back to what it's all about, driving a sports car.
Right.
Being part of the whole experience. Being part of
Right.
Right. Yeah.
In the studio, I can say that Tamura-san's very animated, talking about the dance partner, and that the manual really is a way to connect the machine to you, as he mentioned. And I think that really affected us in even shaping the interior design and making sure we take things away and sleek things out, so that experience of driving can be in the car.
But if I may be so bold, it is a bold move in 2020 to actually bring in a manual transmission, a 6-speed. Yeah, that's really getting back to the roots of things.
I think there's a few thousand people there that maybe
Right.
want it.
Right. What do you think? What do you think, Adam?
Listen, first off, I have not driven in a manual shift street car for a while, and I drove here. All my race cars are manual shift, but I drove a 370Z here, and I was a passenger in the car, and it was so much more visceral an experience. I think everyone thinks about driving the stick and, rev matching and all that kind of stuff. Be a passenger when someone is really driving a stick, a manual stick properly. It's a completely different experience to be a passenger in that car. So, yeah, I'm old school. All my race cars are 5 speeds, some 4 speeds, and I love it.
Right. Fantastic. Okay, let's go on to the next question. We have a question from John. And we're having a little problem with connecting. So I'm going to basically read his question. John wants to know, you can see the evolution of Z cars over the past half a century. What makes this car stand out from previous models? Both of you? Who do you want to
go?
Yeah, actually for the Z, it's like our DNA. So let's say somebody S30 or 300ZX of D30 is one of the motif, but the more, Z is the life. And actually for our lineup of the Z is eternity theme of the chase something. Like a life is short, but how to make your some emotional life. Z is one of the solution. It's a partner. That sometimes a sports car has chased the time, like 0 to 60, something, attack. It's okay. One the other, entertainment. But Z is a more deep inside of the some life of the focus point. Then Nissan wants to show you about the Z for more connection for you.
Right. You want to add to that, Alfonso?
Sure. I think that I think fundamentally when you think of being inspired by a 240 and a 300 is already a bit of a departure within the generations. I think, and I hope everyone sees at a glance, that you feel that obviously the silhouette and many elements are a nod to 240, but at the same time it has the power and performance and many aspects of tomorrow. So I think that in essence will stand out and really help complement the portfolio, the family of Z cars. So that was our motivation.
Right, I see. Okay. Yeah, it's again, I guess it's more than just going fast. It's part of your lifestyle. It's something that I guess I wouldn't call it a friend, but yeah, a friend, somebody a partner in your life. Somebody. It's almost a person, almost.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, a sports car is probably not a necessary object for everyday life. So fundamentally, people buy because they love and they're so close to this experience that it already sets the tone and the mood much more amorous, if I could use that word. And so everyone who joins Nissan wants to design a GTR and a Z car. And that's how it is here in this family. That's how it is.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go on to our next question. Our question is from Enver. Is Enver going to be able to come online, or should I read his question? Okay, I'm going to read his question. All right. Okay, please show me the question. Okay, the 240Z had a light and agile driver's platform. What was the design brief for the Z Proto, and have you achieved the design brief? Alfonso, you want to take that?
Yeah, of course the 240 is a different context, except if you think about the cars relative to the 240 at that era, it was very modern. We of course think about it now as a homage car, but so it was breaking all the grounds. It was super lightweight, as the question asks. And when we started hearing from our engineers some of the characteristics that they are dreaming about, it's not exactly 240, but with the twin turbo, that's a different type of power. And then we knew that, and we knew that some of the dynamics. So naturally, our designers start to play with center of gravity. We wanted to lower it. We wanted a very wide stance to reflect how the car is going to behave. Right. So I wouldn't say it's that the performance aspects are exactly in the brief to be a 240, because it's a super modern experience when folks get in, and it's going to be thrilling. I can't.
But thank you for acknowledging. Yeah, acknowledge about for 240Z is nice elements, but I think about for all of the contents, which not only 240Z. By the way, I had a 240Z G over fender or nice long nose. That is so exciting design. But for 300ZX or even the current model of 34, the shape, silhouette, all of the elements, all of the DNA we install. That's I believe about for don't stick about only 240Z. all of the babies are Nissan's DNA.
All of them.
All of
right. And this baby encompasses all the predecessors.
Right.
Especially because we're drawing more on memory than specifics. So when you think about a memory, there's always a kind of, depending on our age, I guess, there's certain details are lost. And it helps us as designers, because if you specifically want us to touch designs from generations, it can become a bit of a mix of things.
Right.
But the team was really inspired by this idea that just think about feelings and things, iconography of the eras and stuff like that, and then bring it. And that allowed us to think about the feeling. The first time I saw the 350 on the road, we designed it as clay, but when you see it real,
Right.
it's different.
Right, absolutely.
And that sense of low center of gravity and that everything's centered and the balance of tires. And so there's even a little bit of that.
Right,
It's not specific, but it's in there.
Right.
It's a-
But you really did have a very rich palette to work from.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely, right. Okay, I think we're back online. Let's get back to our group of Z fans. This question comes from Adam. Adam, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you
Hey,
for
Adam.
having me. Howdy. My question stems from the design and development portion. I'm hoping that you can share with me one of your most interesting stories you had during the design of this vehicle, because it is truly a beautiful piece of art. Thank you.
Okay. You want to take that on, Fonseca?
Sure. I mean, there's a few, to be honest. And Tamura-san mentioned the G, the one that he had, but we have the Zama collection of cars, which we have so many great cars there. And we were bringing some of those in. And when we brought the G in, that was one of the breakthrough moments, because that covered lens over and that longer nose really made us feel like, we can probably push this thing a little bit and get that sharp nose and this sense of the continuity of the body and the hood to the front. And so this was a true story, a breakthrough for us conceptually. And also when we started talking about the edge lighting and how do we think about the feeling we had when we saw that beautiful, polished, simple 300Z that looked more like a Riverstone, so wonderful. And how can we bring some of that sensuality and performance into the Z, which Tamura-san had been really talking about from day one, that he wanted to express a greater sense of sensuality in the Z, even though the power was going to be, impressive. So these are all, maybe not answering specifically, but even the katana sword was, I feel this was one of those things that the day before it wasn't there and we were happy. And when a designer put that on, it was, holy, hold on, what is that? And because what it did to the car was impressive, really settled the rear down and really celebrated the beautiful silhouette. And things were becoming complete.
Right.
So I'm really hoping I answered your question.
You just mentioned katana. Was the katana actually a motif that you guys kind of had in mind, or did it just come out of
Japanese mind sometimes.
That's true.
The Z is the main region. Actually, we know that for the States, for the USA is major 1.3 million. Actually, we sold out 1.8 million for global.
Right.
But the USA market
The
is,
biggest.
our main customers.
Right.
I don't want to say the other customer is not so important, but important region is sometimes USA market, and sometimes our DNA of Japanese root. That's we need to install. That's the origin of the Z-ness or something like that. Of katana is one of the motif. It's
Right.
do not thinking about for some weapon or something, or beauty, or some elegant, or this kind of, how can I say, design element is so important, and root came
Right.
from Japan.
Right. But then it also serves a purpose rather than just actually being something pretty to look at, it definitely does have a role to play in the design, a very strong role.
Yeah, for us, it was one of those things that we didn't, the design process, as you know, is maybe very stressful for Tamura-san, who's responsible for everything, because a designer will have an idea that didn't exist the day before, and I completely agree with Tamura-san. We are a completely international car company. We have 8 studios all around the world. Everyone was having a good time with this project. But one of the defining aspects of our internationalism is that we were born here, and there are some gestures and some movements that define our designs. And it's sometimes a celebration of an element that's Japanese or international or European. But this is the beauty of working on projects with our company, is that we have a lot of voices, and the inspiration completely spirals, and we're feeding off each other.
Right.
So some of these things, like the katana, really, for me, it helped so much, the design, because it, again, lowered center of gravity, also plays against this character line, which is an anti-wedge character line, which didn't exist on any Z, but somehow feels very natural. So these things, they're quite organic.
Right, yeah, okay. Well, I think that answered your question, Adam. Now let's go to Lourdes. Lourdes, are you there?
Hi, yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Hi, Lourdes.
Hi. My question is, how does Nissan find the balance between the well-known heritage of the Z and the innovation that must expressed within this new generation?
Oh, good question. Yeah, actually, for homage, it sometimes looks like old-fashioned, but it's not old, like a newest, and something like a long while of your memory is warmless or heartful, something to install. And of course, technology must have the newness, some great, some powerful performance or handling, agile. All of the sports car must have, or Z also must have. That's paradox, but something like a homage, which came from our root or heritage, into the cover for new technology, or underneath is our technology. That is very important, even Nissan DNA. All of our products is install such a kind of DNA or technology or philosophy.
As designers, of course, we're not pure artists in a sense, but there are some aspects of the life that we have. The value that we bring to a company is that some of the feelings we have about the context of our company and society, we allow those to spill out in our drawings and in our work. And I think that something Uchida-san had been saying so strongly is he really wants Nissan to find its greater purpose, our meaning. And this kind of discussion is happening as we're designing a Z. And of course, a greater purpose is not relative to time. But sometimes, when you're thinking about it, there is a little bit about that, about where we have been and where are our dreams. So the question is a great one. The answer is that it was quite natural. It has to do with the context of our company and the dreams of tomorrow and the feelings that we had. And to express the innovation, the Z was a monstrous innovation. If you think about 1969, and forget about 1969 is launch. Let's think about when the designers and engineers were creating the Z, which was 2 or 3 years before.
Yeah.
That to have an authentic sports car, you really had to get a European car, and they were expensive. And this is not part of Japanese society.
Right.
And so the 240 was beautiful and it drove great, but it can be in the driveway of almost everyone. And there's nothing more innovative than this kind of cultural revolution that I believe strongly that the Z was one of the pioneers to bring authentic sports driving to everyone. So I think that's some of it. And of course, our engineers are tireless, so they were bringing innovation all over the place. So.
Actually, this project started from 2017 March. I believe I asked to him, Alonso-san, please make for us for such a kind of some indication, hint for the sports car, which means, of course, next Z. And he said, of course, why not? To be honest, many arguments would happen sometimes. But we did that because Nissan DNA says we must do for the audience, for the customers.
And I think he is being a little bit not descriptive. I hear a knock on my door, the door opens just a little bit, his smiling face, Pancho, can I bother you? And he tells this thing, and I was like a bit shocked. But of course, oh my God, this is a dream come true for anyone. So yeah, we jumped right away and we sent the program globally. And we started receiving all these ideas and we started mapping out, okay, where should we go with this?
Yeah, it's great to hear how, really establishment professionals could turn them back into little boys, to create something that's really fun. And I get that enthusiasm, the adrenaline.
Only his head was visible. The body was behind the door. It was like, I'll never forget it.
Right, okay. All right, Lords, I hope that answered your question. Now we have Carl at ZCON. Chris? Are you there? Okay, Adam, is Chris with you?
Good evening. Hello, Tamura-san, Alfonso out there. Good to see you guys again. How are you guys doing out here tonight at ZCON 2020 out in the field? Adam, thanks for joining us.
Oh,
it's a fun time.
I would have been here anyway. I didn't even know this thing was going on. I'm just like hanging out in fields with Zs.
Absolutely, and if I could, I think I have a question for the guys over there in Japan. Alfonso, I don't know if you know this, but I bumped into Tamura-san more than once, so this question is aimed more for you. The Z-car community out here, all these great people that are honking and flashing their lights and enjoying the ZCON week, have been anticipating a beautiful new Z-car for quite some time. There's a huge appetite for it. And I'm going to ask for your opinion, what do you think, out of everything that you've done with Proto Z, what are the elements of this new Z that you believe will most excite those enthusiasts out here enjoying this launch event and will enjoy the new car?
Oh, thanks for the question. And yes, vicariously. You want to jump in, sir?
Yeah, sorry. Carl-san, Chris-san, can you hear me or can you see my face? Yeah, long time to not see you. It's a honor to for the questionality from you, and I think about Christian is the head of the Owners Club, by the way, and to be honest, we talk with him or his society how we can make next generation Z. Of course, like not solution or not like how can I say for engine displacement, more future some excitement, like how Nissan to survive about for such a kind of difficult world. And simple, show me about new one. And I said, okay.
Yes.
Then I started to jump in the Alfonso's office, and Alfonso said, just say yes. And now here it is, the elements. Oh, sorry, not completed about for designs.
Again, he's simplifying. Again, knock, knock, knock. Head comes. This time the hand came out, and he like this. I thought it was for money, but actually he was asking for drawings, Chris. So yes, I was aware, and he was very helpful, at least to get a sense from the Z community of some of the early thoughts, and I think we've reacted and also evolved many, many elements. So I think to your direct question, I think people will find it arresting the first glance of the car, because even myself, when I see it driving, because I have been seeing it as a clay model, which doesn't move at all, and to see it moving and then to see our dream of triggering memories actually happen. It's super humbling, first of all, but it's even shocking for people who had their hands all over it. And I think that's probably why we are always going to be creating cars, is that this feeling. And so a simple answer, I think the proportion and silhouette, and people will react differently, but they will react.
So when you came up with the clay model, it was like epiphany, it was just like, boom, this is it? Did you guys all like, man, this is the design?
Yeah, you know, to be honest, the first time I saw data, because, you know, in our company, we're blessed with all the modern technologies. In my office, I have full VR, and I don't even need to get up anymore. That's why there's some weight gain. But
We all do.
the first time I put the goggles on, and with Tyson, and we saw this car, the rear fender, I think when people see it in person, this beautiful stance, of this sensual muscularity was so visible. And I think that these are the things that people will react as we reacted when the first time we saw data. And then when you see clay model, you then start enhancing and make it, okay, a little more. He's a little more. His nickname is a little more. There's a little more fender, a little more this. And
Moskoshi.
More.
And very a great experience. So
Right.
I think that this is some of the things that you will.
Right. Okay, well, thank you very much. We have another question from our online viewer. I guess we're having, again, we can't connect. Okay, so I should read this question. Okay, this is a question from Lib. Why do you think the Z is such a sports car icon?
Yeah, actually, we didn't make icon. You made it. So this customer, our Z drivers, all this kind of energy made an icon. That's very important for our energy. So Nissan basically is made by customers' energy. That's why icon. Thank you for acknowledge again. But you made it.
Are you talking to the just the emotional aspect, or are we talking about some feedback?
Yeah, of course, many feedback or many, how can I say, pressure came from. Yeah. But this pressure is so nice energy for even for me or for team. Everybody is enjoying about for this pressure, nice pressure. Because our audience or our customers is so lovely Nissan lovers. So I'm very happy to get this kind of pressure.
And I think at the end of the day, it's undeniable that because of 6 generations and 50 years, and these cars have gone to every corner of the world, down New Zealand, Australia, up England, and all around the world, South Asia, they're everywhere. And I think it's because of the mix of this iconography of Z, which was a car that everyone can enjoy and be impressed. So as a result, many people enjoyed the experience. And it's a blend of this performance, this arresting beauty. And so I think it's the combination. And this is something that we always discuss, especially because, you know, we have a GTR in our family. So there is a difference, almost to the point of cultural difference in our culture between a GTR and a Z. And we share this, we talk about this, because when we start a new one, you know, you need to make sure that you inform your intuition as you leap forward. So this stuff is great.
Right. Okay. Lib, I hope that answered your question. Do we have another question from our viewers? Okay, we have our last question now. And this is, okay, okay, let me read the question. With it being so long between Z models, how important is it to Nissan that you engage the Z enthusiasts? That's an unannounced question out of nowhere.
Right.
You want to take that, Tamura-san?
Yeah, actually, it's one of the reminder, but I said, or we said, the conceptual point, Zeness of Zeness for the enthusiast. So this kind of fundamental access from us, some Nissan wants to show about for our philosophy. We have some area, but even we have Z. These kind of,
A to Z.
yeah, that is for important point for the access or approaching from Nissan, I think.
Yeah, I think people should not underestimate social media. To design a car in this era is wonderful. We have a lot of technology, so when we make a car, we are lifted by technology, but also the voices that reach us. Where maybe 20 years ago, you a bit were designing in isolation, or you did some product planning, does a survey, but we are getting information all the time. And especially with the Z enthusiasts are constantly feeding us with information, opinions, some criticisms. And,
Which is always good.
And it helps us because, you know, I'd like to paint a picture of what our life is like. So Design Center is around 500 people. And right next to us, there's a big building, 9 floors high, full of engineers. And there's a bridge connecting us. And all day long, teams of engineers are coming into Design Center. And we're talking about everything. So when you see A to Z, in our company, that means we are all doing. So every engineer and the philosophies of the engineers for ARIA are in Z.
Right.
There is not a separation. Right. This is a culture of creativity and innovation. So naturally, it's a DNA of our company. Yeah. So
this is let's say, super diversified. And you know, culture meaning sometimes it's nation, but the other hand to say for R&D or designer or product planning, also we have each own cultures.
Right.
But among them, and make about for nice meals, and that is, no, sorry, not nice meal, the best of the best, you know, product, that is the, for example, Z.
Z, right, okay. But can you say that, this is a question for me, because of social media, this is maybe a car that incorporated a lot of the feedback from the fans, from the Z fans. Do you think that's the right assessment?
Well, I think it confirmed, because obviously social media didn't know we were starting when we were starting.
Yeah.
But I think it was almost up to a bizarre level.
Right.
Because really the Z enthusiasts are of every age, every generation. And you have some kids who were born way after, you know, the 240.
Right, yeah.
Who are speaking about the 240 suddenly as if it's their absolute, I must have this car, I love this car.
Yeah.
And I don't think 20 years ago that was necessarily exactly the case. There was always some of that.
Right, yeah.
But, and this kind of, it made us more buoyant. It filled us with oxygen because, yes, so some of the feelings that we are having, these are echoed. And it doesn't matter the age of the person.
Right.
People love the Z. And
well, here's the latest evolution. We're kind of running out of time. I'd like to ask some more questions, but thanks to all the people that participated in this event. Thanks for the amazing questions. And thank you, Alfonso, and thank you, Tamura-san, for your insights to the Nissan Z Proto. And this wraps up our Z Proto digital unveil. We hope you had a great time as much as we had. From all of us here in Yokohama, thank you to the fans at ZCON and around the world for joining with us. Thank you very much. For more details on the car in the coming months, please visit the NissanNext.com. Let's keep the legacy of Z alive. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye.